Hello and welcome. This is James Maduke speaking from teachonline.io and trainingsites.io, where we show people how to start, build, and grow their own education business online, creating courses, selling courses, marketing courses, and of course, hopefully having some fun building their education business or their online course business. So, what are we going to do today? Oh, turn that off. Turn that off. There we go. Heaven forbid my test stream started in the background. Okay, so here we go. This is what I want to do today. These are going to be a regular series, by the way. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening in the online content creator market, specifically around courses and series. So I want to touch on that today, and I'm going to be doing regular series during the week where I'm just going to get online. We're going to take a look at the things that have happened specifically on YouTube as it comes to creating courses, marketing courses, building out education business, training sites, teaching online, all of those different areas that hopefully you're interested in as well. So I'm going to try and have as much fun as I can, go over lots of points of stuff that I picked up either in the morning before or in this case the weekend before. Just chat a little bit about them and see if they apply and or how you can apply them if you're interested in creating and selling courses, if you're interested in teaching people what it is that you know and do already, and just sharing your expertise with people and hopefully earn some money doing it. This doesn't mean that you have to be earning money with your online courses. The fact is that if you do have something to share, an online course is just a really great way to do it. So we're going to spend some time playing around with that. I have a whole bunch of notes in front of me of things I want to cover. And again, this is not an overly structured talk. It's more about looking at the things that I picked up during the day or the week, and again, how they apply to your business or just creating courses. And I think the first thing that I want to just kind of talk about is the massive size that this whole education and content creation market is. So obviously with COVID, all the things that changed there, it changed the dynamic when it comes to learning stuff online because we were limited physically on where we could be to do instructions or courses where they were normally done before. So it changed the dynamic a lot. So just to give you an idea, there's a couple reports that I read. There was one by thinkimpact.com that I was looking at on the weekend. 2026, the global online learning market should be worth $375 billion. That's with a B. Just like billion. That's a lot of money in the education market. That's globally. 2024, the US e-learning market will have grown by $21 billion. So this is not something that's shrinking. This is not something that's a fad. This is growing dramatically, and it's only because I think people are getting accustomed to it now, it's only going to get bigger. So the other thing is even though some of the statistics that I've seen are more about North America, it's absolutely huge globally. It's not just the States. So if you are creating content or you are creating courses, even though if you're here in North America with myself, you kind of think, oh, North America is a market. It's a global market. It's absolutely huge. So if you're, sharing or teaching people about things that are not specific to geography, again, huge market. Absolutely ginormous what you're able to do. Where was it? There. There's the virtual classroom market size, 11.3 billion. So there's a big distinction between an online course and the virtual classroom. So the virtual classroom is blended learning where we actually get live instructors who are sharing over a webcam, over a camera and a studio, live and in real time with people who are learning. So whether that be a static course where it's just watching a video, but also having the opportunity to have the instructor to teach at the same time. And again, this is really important to understand because I think, again, this is personal opinion. I think that part of the market is the one that's going to be growing most quickly over the next couple of years. And I'll touch on that in a little while, over the next little while, just because there's some really neat dynamics that are happening, especially for people who are coaches, consultants, speakers, people who are sharing maybe business expertise, or even if you're not doing business expertise, you're showing or teaching people a physical expertise or a physical knowledge that's not business related. There's a real demand, I think, for a personal connection, and that whole blended learning virtual classroom thing is really ready to take off. The other thing that was interesting during the 2020 to 2026, the industry and professional e-learning segment is likely to grow at a composite aggregate growth rate of 32%. That means it's going a whole third, almost 33% increase compound annual growth rate. So this means it's ready to explode. You just have to be there in the right place at the right time. So those are kind of just some stats about it. And the one thing that comes across to me is that when I look at these, there's kind of a couple markets when it comes to online courses, and it depends who you're selling to. So if you do have a course or you're thinking of creating a course, one of the things that that I've run into, that I've learned, is there's a huge difference between the types of courses that I was just talking about in that space there and the courses that we generally end up making. So let me give you an example. If, let's say, for example, you're someone like me who spent 20 years or 25 years in the corporate world getting an expertise in some high tech and sales and marketing and startups. And I have all this knowledge and all this thing that I've learned over a part of a career. And I'm thinking, man, I'm an expert in this part because I've lived it for so many years. I know it inside and out. I know the market. I've got all of these contacts, and I just want to share what it is that I know. So there's people like that, if that who we identify with. You may go, okay, I'm going to put together some kind of course to share what I know. And the course, or the type of course that you put together, is designed specifically for a group of people or a market of people who have a problem, the same problem that I had, or are looking for an answer to some kind of question that they have that I may have the answer for. So that's a particular market where it's kind of like a skills transfer, a knowledge transfer between the instructor and the person wanting it. I also, we have trainingsites.io, which is our agency business. So I have my teachonline.io, which is our learning campus, where we do, it's do-it-yourself information, where we teach people all of this stuff. But I have the agency business where it's done for you. And one of the things that's interesting in the customers that we deal with on the agency side is we help a lot of people that are just like I was talking about. It's someone who's a subject matter expert. They just want to create a course to start off with, or they have an idea for a course and they're thinking, okay, how can I create the course? What do I need to do to sell it? Where do I sell it? What are the mechanics of that? But there's a whole other part of the market that is a small company, a business that may already have employees, that they may already have a product or service. And the type of course that they are looking for is something on, for example, we get all sorts of client training ones. So a company may be onboarding employees and they have certain certifications that are required for new employees for them to provide a service. And that certification may be an industry certification that's required, or it could be an internal company certification that's required. It may be how to use an internal product or service. But those are still trainings and they're courses. But that kind of course, while it's in that big group of statistics that I was talking about, that's a completely different kind of course than the subject matter expert, someone who's been out, living it for 20 years and then just wants to share what it is they know and do. So the moral to the story is that when you're creating these online courses, the part that I've learned, and it's pretty consistent when you're on YouTube and they start looking for online courses, selling online courses, membership sites, online course businesses, the majority of the ones that you see on YouTube are that primary one where it's how do I, it's that person who's the subject matter, the coach, consultant, the author, the speaker. the person who knows how to do wine tasting, the person who knows how to play music and then wants to teach online. Those are the kinds of things that you find mostly on YouTube, but there's that whole other market that you kind of have to be aware of. And if you are going to sell a course, or if you're interested in creating your own online course, or if you need to market an existing course, just be really, really sure that you know who you're marketing it to, and have a really good idea that this kind of course fits with this kind of market, and this type of course fits with that type of market. The worst thing that I've seen happen is if you have one kind of course that you've structured or that fits best with someone as the subject matter expert who's trying to teach another person how to do what you do, trying to take a course that's structured for that market and trying to sell it to a large company. They just probably don't have an interest in it, or they don't need it, or they don't want it in the form of a course. So just have a really good understanding. If you want to be part of those big statistics on all of this growth, just make sure that you're selling the right course to the right person. Okay. That's the biggest mistake that I run into with our clients, and even myself is selling the wrong course to the wrong group of people. And I think that's probably the next kind of piece that I'll talk about in terms of marketing your course and selling your course. For me, once upon a time, there was this guy that had spent 25 years in business, and he'd been in corporate business. He'd done a startup company. He'd worked in a startup company, the VC funded, all of that stuff, went through it. And he took all of the information that he gained during that period, and he said, you know what, I'm going to sell a course. And he took 6 months, and he had a course that was absolutely gorgeous. It encapsulated everything that he had learned during that period of time. It had all sorts of different modules, and it had all sorts of lessons. It was step by step. It was the perfect course. And it went through all of this information that he had learned and all of the experience that he had, and it put it all together. And what he did is, he wasn't too good on the technology part, so he laid it out. He did PowerPoint slides. He did a narration. He had a cameraman come in who he had to pay extra to do the cameraman shot, because he wasn't up on the technology stuff, and he put it together, and it took him over 6 months to do it. And when it came time, he had that course put together. He even had some workbooks done. So, it was a real professional course, just like he'd done in the high-tech industry, some of the stuff that he'd created for the slide decks and the sales presentations and things that he'd done there. But he spent a lot of money, and he took a lot of time to put this huge, large course together. And he said, okay, I'm ready to market it. And he went out, and he didn't have any particular email list to start off with. He didn't have any community or people that were in the online world other than the people that he had dealt with in the past, which were corporate people. And he said, you know what, I'm going to put a website together, and it's a great course. It's absolutely perfect course. There's a lot of great information there. So I'm going to go sell it, and I'm going to charge a lot of money for it. And you know what? I might even start getting this passive income that I've always dreamt about, where I'm going to be able to just sell a course and have it, either provide me more customers, or I'm going to earn enough from each course that I won't have to worry. All I got to do is market my course. So he went out, and he went to people that he knew first to try and sell the course that he put together, and no one bought it. And he went, oh, I've talked to everyone that I know. They're not necessarily interested in it. So what should I do now? So he started doing some outreach, some cold outreach, and he's started to go, well, okay, I used to deal with these kind of companies. Maybe I can go out and start approaching them about the system that I learned while I was at my company. And I've got this great online course. He talked to other VPs of sales and stuff. I got this great course. Why don't you use it internally and sell this to your staff, or use it for your sales rep or your marketing team or whatever it happens to be? And no one was interested. So this is obviously a true story. And this is the thing that I've learned a lot of the time when I'm looking at people who are selling courses, or the people who are helping other people sell courses, is The first course that you create, most people make the mistake of doing the big picture, everything all in one course, taking what they knew and trying to turn it into a course. And this is the same thing if, for example, you're a guitar player, or if you're a wine taster, or if you're a fine connoisseur of food, or you know how to do needlepoint, or you know how to do search engine optimization, or you know how to do book review, whatever it happens to be. A lot of times when people create a course, specifically their first course, and try and market it, it's the course that they want to buy, not the course that their market wants to buy. So the biggest thing that I've learned in that thing is that, first of all, don't do a big course up front. Don't do the all-encompassing course up front. That's the first thing. The second thing is, don't create a course for yourself. Create a course for the people that you need to sell to, or that would want to buy what it is that you already know and do. So what are the questions they have, and what information do I have from my experience that they need to learn in order to answer the questions that they have? So that's kind of the other thing that's really become abundantly clear on my time on YouTube here, and my experiences, of course, selling my own courses. Don't start with the big course up front. It's a nightmare. It doesn't work. It's really, really, really expensive and time consuming. So just make sure that when you're putting this together, just, remember the course, who it's for, and when you're marketing it, what type of customer it's for, who it's for, and make sure that you're not creating the course content to answer questions that you have or had. You only have to create the course for the questions and answers that the people you're marketing it have. And this is really, really, really hard. And I personally still run into this problem when I'm, putting courses together or thinking about mini courses or tutorials. It's like the things that you're learning over the day. So for example, if I go back in my YouTube history and I'm taking a look through, and I'm looking at all of this YouTube stuff, and I go, what did I look at, or what did I search for personally on YouTube during the last day or the last week? And you can go, if you haven't before, if you're logged into YouTube and you have a YouTube account, I think it's on the left-hand side. Let me just open this one up. Yeah, it's down. You go home, short, subscriptions, and then library history is what I have on mine as I'm logged in to my account. So you can go in and take a look at your history. And if you look at your personal history, you'll find that you've done searches for certain things. Now, if you actually go and you look at what you've searched for, the question becomes, are these the same questions that people are asking? And is there some content that in my market that I can create that's appropriate for this particular group? And one of the tools that I use is called vidIQ. And vidIQ is a tool that basically embeds itself right into your YouTube account. If you're creating courses on the YouTube studio, and even I'm pretty sure it's on the YouTube account. But when you actually go in and you look at it, one of the things that it does is it actually goes through. Maybe I'll show this one. Let's see if I can get we'll get one here. There we'll go. I'll open one up here. Here's where I got those stats from earlier. So here's one here. I'm going to go to this one. We'll open this one. Yeah, so here's one. Let me just open, well, this is a studio. So I'm going to go back to a content. I'm going to go back to my channel. So we'll open up the channel. And one of the things that, if I go back, first of all, I can go back at the history. And if I go back and look at, here's one. So let's say, for example, we go look at Gary V ones that I looked at. So, and I don't want to watch the ad, so I'm just going to get rid of the skip ad here. So on this one, if I take a look at it and I'm looking at Gary V, and you can see that there's all comments, threads, and there's some other pieces here. And on this one, because I'm subscribed, it doesn't necessarily show up. So let's try this one. So if I go look here in the upper right hand, this is a vidIQ thing that's done. And if I do a keyword inspector, one of the things that I can do is I'm going to turn Gary V off in the background and we'll go back to the keyword inspector. One of the things that's kind of interesting here is that if I go back in my history and I take a look at the different things that I searched for, you may find that the stuff that I'm searching for has no demand. So if I go for a keyword and I'm sitting and I go and think, let's say I'm looking for, I'm looking, what would be an example? Lesson plans. So I'm trying to figure out how to do a lesson plan and I do a search. See, one of the things that vidIQ does, which is interesting, is it will actually tell you how many searches were done. So if I look keyword provided lesson plans, search volume is only 942. And the other thing to remember is that YouTube is the second largest search engine. So, you may go and say, I'm going to do search engine optimization, and you focus exclusively on Google. YouTube is the second biggest search engine. People are searching on YouTube by default. So this one says lesson plans is 942. So maybe I went through and I personally was looking for lesson plans, but I always go to vidIQ after and find out who else is looking for lesson plans. Is lesson plans something I should be covering in my online course? And the answer is no, not at all. There's no one looking for it. So, in as much as I'm putting courses together, tutorials together, lessons, videos, all of that stuff, just because I'm looking for it doesn't mean other people are looking for it. Just because I have an interest for it doesn't mean other people have an interest for it. So if you haven't already picked up a vidIQ, I believe there's a trial, and I'll put the links below. But if you get a vidIQ account, it's for content creators on YouTube, but there's huge value in it if you're a course creator, because it really gives you an idea how many people or what kind of people or how much action or searches are being done for what you think is interesting as opposed to what the market thinks is interesting. The other thing that is really powerful here that's helpful is if you look, it also includes the overall score, which is the competition and the demand. So they've got kind of an algorithm that says, look, there's these many people that are searching for it. There's these many people that are providing answers to it, and they kind of do a thing and say, where is this? Is it green, yellow, red? These ones, when I did lesson plan, I put it in, they're all, Classroom has high searches, but there's a lot of competition. Okay. Beginner English as a second language lesson plans. If I'm selling stuff about wine or dog training or how to do something or guitar, and I find out that there's lesson plans for toddlers or some of these other ones about teacher, which doesn't have anything to do, it just gives me a real grounding or a real gut check on what people are searching for. So if you haven't already, go get a copy of vidIQ, add it to your account. There's a huge benefit in terms of making sure or correlating where your idea for course is and how easy it's going to be market and how much demand is for what you're actually doing. Okay, let me just do let's see what happens here if I put in, let's do dog training. And I'm just picking these out of, so I'm going to do dog training. Now here's one here. If I just put in dog training, there's puppy training. So there's lots of searches for some of these, but if you look at them, there's high competition. So none of them are particularly green. Cane Corso, don't know what that is, but someone's searching for it. Canine trainers, pit bulls. So these really, free dog training, these gives you some ideas on some of the different parts of your market that make sense. I'll show you one other one just to show you the ones that show up green. So if I do one on, let's say we do, so if I do online courses, for example, if I just do online courses, you can see that on these ones, there's still low competition or very work from home, high competition, but there's 500,000 people that are searching for that particular one. So the scores are quite low. Online classes, not many people searching for those ones. Okay, so online learning, teach online. So there's a lot of different market dynamics. Just take the time up front before you start marketing that big course that you've created, and make sure that you're creating content or courses or lessons that are appropriate to your particular market. That's the other thing I just want to kind of touch on, is that when people are selling courses or they create that course, there's a big difference between creating a course or building a business. And a lot of the stuff that you find on YouTube or that you may be marketed are things about buying a course. And my personal belief is, if you are going to be selling a course, understand that selling a course is not an online education business. Selling a course is not a business. It's just one way or one part or one tactic or one strategy about a bigger picture, which is teaching people how to do something that they don't already know and do. And I think the exciting part, for at least for me, is that the goal for me is to teach people how to start, build, and grow their own education business. And if just having a course is not showing people how to start, build, and grow an education business, it's just giving them the information. It isn't guiding them through the process. It isn't making sure that they get to the destination. And that destination is having their own education business. So a course is just a part of it. And that's the other thing that, I think that a lot of people that are getting started in this, or they're creating an online course, is they think of the course as their business. The course is not their business. The course is a part of their business. And if you don't have that big strategy about what's involved in the end goal for yourself and the people that you're talking to, it's going to be very difficult to market a course, because there's no vision on what the course will do for them at the end. Remember, it's always about not just knowing how to do something, it's actually about doing something. And that's a challenge for businesses. That's a challenge for you as an educator, as a teacher, as someone wants to share what they already know and do. It's like, how do I get people to do what I either do or was doing, or guiding them through that path? And that's the exciting part. And that's the never-ending story for people who are teaching online or getting involved in that whole particular market, which is kind of fun. And that's the part that I enjoy personally. So if you're going to teach online and create online courses, notice the word that I said there, courses. I said a lot of people start with thinking, oh, I got to do an absolutely big course. The part that I've learned is that you should never, ever, ever start with a big course. Never, ever start with a big course. And there's a couple of reasons for it. The first one is that unless you come into teaching online or building your own training site or creating online courses, unless you come into this whole, build a course business or build an education business or e-learning business, unless you come into it with 1 million subscribers and a whole bunch of existing customers, you probably don't know exactly what your market wants. And creating mini courses up front, which are just pieces of a big course, is a far more effective way to do two things. One is to test the market without investing a whole bunch of your time, energy, and effort and resources. So if you start with just a mini course, and a definition of a mini course, you can have 1,000 definitions of it. For me, it's a specific outcome or answer to a specific question in the form of a course, a step, or a process. So the mini course is not 40 lessons, workbooks, assignments. It may be 3 to 5 videos. It may be checklists, but it's something, in many cases, it may be under an hour and a half. Maybe it's 2 hours, but it's a small course that doesn't take a huge investment of your time. Oftentimes it can be repurposed from something you've already done live, put together in the form of a course, answers one specific question that's part of a bigger picture. And if you put that together and start to market that little piece, you're going to find out a couple things. First of all, you're going to get some feedback as to whether or not anyone's interested in buying it. When you go talk to your friends, when you go doing some social media marketing, when you go doing some emails, when you go doing some networks on any of the the networking platforms. If you go and you can talk to people about it and share that you do have an answer to that question in the form of a course, people can get started. You'll find out, first of all, if there's any demand in it. The other thing, the big thing that is, if you're creating online courses, is there's all sorts of different ways to create the online course content. And many times when people, if they create that big course, they have an idea in their head on how they like to learn it and how they think the course should be created physically. Is it a PowerPoint slide deck with an audio going through it? Or is it something that is just you talking to the camera and actually talking to people live in real time and recording that? There's all different formats of courses, right? And different ways that it's presented, whether it's a slide deck or, for example, one of the things that that we have here is I have an iPad, and we've actually got a video pencil here so I can write on the screen and have it show up on the screen. So instead of a PowerPoint presentation, I can actually write on the screen. The other thing that I have is this webcam that I'm using, and I'll do some work on this on a future session. This webcam, just as an example, I can have it so I'm standing, right now I'm sitting at my desk, but I could have it where I'm standing in front of a real whiteboard, and this camera will follow me around while I'm working in front of the whiteboard, and I can even get it to focus exclusively just on the whiteboard so that it's only on the whiteboard, even with me walking around. And if I write stuff, you're going to see it on the whiteboard. So the format of what you're creating for online courses can change on the market that you're doing. Let's say you're teaching aerobics or dog training or something like that. If you're putting a video or a course together, do you want a PowerPoint slide on how to stop your dog from barking? Or do you want to see a video of someone actually teaching a dog and showing the process or the techniques to stop a dog from barking? So doing a mini course, not only does it let you test your market, it allows you to test the format of the training that you're doing and the way that you're teaching it, because you'll get some feedback from people. Just ask them, did you like the format? What can be improved? Was it too short? Were the lessons too big? And the third part of these mini courses to start off when you're teaching and putting all of this together is that it allows you to pivot. If you invest or I invest in that big course up front, it's like I have one bullet in my gun. Bad analogy, but if I have one shot to take, I'm playing hockey, I'm playing basketball, I'm playing football. It's either I'm going for the touchdown, I'm on my own 1 yard line, I'm going to throw to the end zone. I'm looking for the touchdown. If I'm back at my own end of the court, I'm underneath my own basket, am I going to try and sink the ball from there? If I'm, these are the things when you're doing the course, it allows you to pivot because you can go and get a little bit closer each time you put something together and you go, you know what, this isn't working. Or, yeah, this particular area of my business or what I'm talking about in these mini courses, there's more demand there. So it allows you to move where your business is and where your big picture is for your education business. It allows you in a way to pivot for it. I'll give you an example of that personally I ran into. One of the things is, like, for me, I get really excited by all of the technology stuff to create all of these courses. And I love creating one-off videos here. I can talk for, I don't know how many hours if someone gave me the chance. I can talk and talk and talk and talk. So I like doing these one-off ones. And I love talking about marketing it and creating courses. And what I found over doing these little pieces out, or these mini courses that I've done, just personally, I've done, I think in terms of mini courses, I have 30 published on teachonline.io. I've got another 100 courses that aren't published. And these, for the most part, are mini courses or small courses. But the reason I'm telling you that is because these small courses, I found over time, kind of group themselves into 3 parts of a business. And here's 4 parts actually. So the 4 parts that I'm involved in, because I did these mini courses and I got interest in these particular areas, the 4 parts let me go back here. So the four parts that I came back to were, the first part was the whole business model. So a lot of people who were thinking about selling courses and weren't sure how this course stuff went, they would go and they wouldn't know how to create a business around it. They would just go, I want to sell a course. I want to sell a course. So what do I need to do to, to sell a course? So they were already looking at selling the course, but they didn't have any particular business model around it. I talked about that kind of at the beginning. It's like, you have to understand that a course is not a business, it's part of a business. So having a business model was one of the areas that I ran into, because people would ask, well, how do I physically sell the course? Or how do I host my videos? Or how do I, should I charge for the course individually, or should I do it as a membership site and only give people access if they pay monthly? So there's a whole issue of business models in and around courses, and then more importantly, how it fits into other parts of your business. So if you're doing, in our case, for example, where you may sell other services, or you may sell digital products, how does that fit into the course? So there's a whole issue of business models. So we have a focus on part of our courses around business models, because that's something that came up. People were asking questions. And again, if you've done the big long course, you're not going to get that. But if you do little courses on starting a membership site, and then people start asking, well, I don't want to do a membership site. I want to, do a free trial and for 7 days and give access to people. Or people are stealing my videos. How do I get the videos set up so that people don't get access to them? Or I want to give my videos away. How do I set it up so that I do give them an access to it? So there's that whole business model we find out. That was one part. The second part was, it's like, how do I physically create the courses? And this is a huge thing that came up, and it's probably the biggest one out of the four. It's the biggest one that I run into, is that when people have that stuff in their head and they think of actually physically creating the course, it's scary. It's really scary. If you're not comfortable, first of all, looking into a camera, if you're not comfortable hearing yourself speak, if you're not quite sure how to put a course with lessons and modules and topics together in a way that's chunkable in the form of a course, if you're not sure how to set up a quiz or what should be in a quiz, so all of these things are really scary for people, and a lot of people need help creating courses. And that's probably the biggest thing that we run into is, how do I actually create the course? So that was something that came out just from doing mini courses about, for example, using Camtasia video editors to record your PowerPoint presentation and edit it into lessons. People had all sorts of questions about that. So we did other mini courses around creating the actual course. The other one that came up out of this is, okay, well, I have my courses now. I created a course. Where do I sell it? Can I put it on my own website? And what happens if I have more than one course? And if I have this business model that's about memberships, how do I set up a site to do memberships? And I have a site that's existing for my business. I want the courses there, or do I want it on a hosted service? So there's a whole bunch of mechanics around building out your, what I call a campus. When I said at the beginning about having an actual business model, at the end of the day, if you're going to teach online, or you're going to sell courses, or you're going to have a training site, these things all about a big business, you're building a campus for yourself. You're building a learning environment for your community and your clients and your customers. It just happens that you have some choices as to where are you going to build it and how are you going to build it. And this is one of the things, again, that came up from doing mini courses or smaller courses, not the big course. And then finally, the last part was, how am I going to market it? I got a business model. I figured out how to create a course. I have a place to sell the course. How am I going to market it? And those are the four kind of big pieces that came out, or four focuses, not based on doing my big course and trying to sell the big course, but by figuring out these things just by doing mini courses in different areas. So I found out four particular places that were of interest to the market on how to do them. So if I'd done the whole thing up front and the whole package out front, those four pieces may not have been the ones that I did in the big course. But doing small courses allowed me to kind of wind my way through and pick out or pivot to the different areas that were appropriate for my customers who were looking on how to start, build, and grow their own education business. So there's some real value in actually doing the small courses, but being able to pivot and think about what it is your client is interested in or the questions that they have. So again, if you haven't joined the community, it's teachonline.io. It's free to join. Go in. We got a lot of course material there, a lot of mini courses that are free to you, and then some actual larger courses now or cohorts where we do blended learning on a regular basis for set programs over a period of time where you can go through with a group of students. So that's teachonline.io. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure that you do that here as well. There's lots of good information being added here. I think I'm going to talk about that because that's the other part for marketing all of these courses that you end up creating. And here's the thing that I've learned is there's too many places to market your course. There's way too many places to market your course. You physically, if you are a small business, you're a solopreneur, you are a solopreneur with some part-time employees, there's physically not enough time in a day to market all of the course information that you have or all of the marketing that you need to do on all of the platforms that are available to you. So just to give you an example, if you look at social media, just an example, whether it's LinkedIn or Pinterest or Instagram or Facebook groups, Facebook pages, LinkedIn pages, Google My Business, there's all sorts of these different platforms available just in social media. Do you have enough time to actually go and post information related to your course and or your business on just those channels? Do you have an email list? Are you doing search engine optimization? Digital marketing still has to be done to sell your courses. There's physically not enough time in a day. So I think what's going to happen, and this is my observation, is that the majority of people who are course creators that are going to be successful are the ones that recognize that they are not only course creators, they're content creators. You are a content creator. If you're creating courses, you're a content creator. And if you're a content creator, the place to be right now is YouTube. Think of YouTube as the hub. So don't go, oh, I'm going to focus on Instagram. I'm going to focus on here. I'm going to focus on LinkedIn. Again, those are all part of the channels. What I've seen people who are building good, successful courses that are actually selling seats on their courses is that they're focusing on one of these main areas. And in the past, it might have been Instagram, for example, in certain markets, or it might have been Facebook again, depending on your market. But they're focusing on single particular areas. And I think the one that you're going to see that's the most successful moving forward is going to be YouTube. And the reason I'm saying that is phones. Being a content creator and learning how to be a content creator, giving pieces of your course or parts of your course or information or news around your course in that market, and creating content on YouTube is the way that you're going to reach the most people, since it is the second largest search engine. And I think that's an accurate statistic. I don't know where it came from. I believe I heard it or read it, but I don't know. I don't know if Google said that it's the second largest one. It's big, and so focusing on that and then leveraging that content you're creating by distributing it to all of these other platforms, I think is the best way to do it. So don't go, I'm gonna do a whole bunch of Instagram. I'm gonna do a whole bunch of Facebook, groups or pages. I'm going to do a whole bunch of LinkedIn. Think about how can I create content for YouTube that is quick and easy to make And if you're a content creator, most of the time you're going, man, it's pretty easy for me to, teach something because that's what I do and what I love. If you get into that kind of mindset that you can create content, you're going to be in a really, really good spot to be able to take that content and repurpose it so that it can be used on these other platforms. So a lot of people are being successful right now if they're focusing on YouTube. And I think you're going to see a huge uptick in that. And here's the other reason why. Here's something else I learned. And I, I subscribe to a number of channels. Obviously, there's the crew at Think Media, which is all about the technology of doing these content creator stuff. There's another gentleman by the name of Nick Nimmin, I think it's pronounced. And I watch, he's got a bunch of live webcasts that he does each week. And I think he's got 3 or 4. There's some of them are Q&A live webcasts. Other ones are, just YouTube news as an example. And the one that was kind of startling to me this week, and it was YouTube specific, was YouTube in the States. It's already rolled out. It's not rolled out outside of the States yet, but they have podcasts. And YouTube Music is an absolutely huge platform for podcasts. And the thing is, they never had it qualified as a podcast. Over the last couple months, I've seen a lot of the content creator or the other people on YouTube who are content creators, not selling courses necessarily, but they're creating content for. They were always talking about playlists, having some playlists, or if you have YouTube videos, make sure to put them in playlists. YouTube is putting a focus on playlists, and now I know why. It's because they're rolling out podcasts. So here's what's going to happen over the next little while. If you go and you do, if you listen to Spotify, if you have an iTunes account, all of these places have huge podcast libraries. So what YouTube is allowing you to do is take your playlists of videos of content you're creating and repurposing them as podcasts that are available on youtube.com/podcasts. And again, you'll only get that link if you're in the States right now. I'm in Canada. It's not here, and I don't think it is outside of the States. But if you have a YouTube account and you're a YouTube content creator, you go to the YouTube studio. There's videos live, and over on the far right, there's podcasts. So you're gonna have another complete huge distribution channel for audio versions of the video content that you're creating. And if I'm not mistaken, again, and I'll put the link to the YouTube video where they announce this. I'll put it in the show notes below. But this is absolutely huge. You've got, and I think YouTube is the second right now. And again, I don't know the stats. It's in the video, but put it this way: YouTube podcasts is bigger than iTunes and bigger than Spotify for podcasts now. And people sometimes call them video podcasts, but they're actually going to have an audio only version of podcasts. And that's where it's going to be in that YouTube Music or YouTube podcasts, youtube.com podcast. So they're going to have a complete distribution channel for the audio only versions of the videos that you've already been creating. And that's another huge, huge, huge distribution channel that's going to come directly from YouTube and creating content on YouTube. Okay, so when you're thinking about how am I going to market my course, these are just some of the things that I picked up over the last couple of days, just kind of watching and looking at what other people are doing, not necessarily just the people who are selling courses, but people that are creating content. How are they creating content? How are they putting together the information that they have? How are they sharing what it is they already know and do? And at the end of the day, if you are building an education business, YouTube is a great place to do it. But if you want to teach people to do something and help them do something that they already know, you can't necessarily do that on YouTube because there's one part missing. That's you. You are missing on YouTube. And if you're teaching online, you want a training site, you want an education business, you want to market what it is you already know and do, and you want to market it for the purpose of getting people to do what it is that you know and they may know, that's where the real value of a training business or an education business is. Yes, there's lots of information on YouTube. You can give information on YouTube, but structuring it and putting it together towards an outcome, that's where courses come in. And courses come in as a part of an education business. So think of that when next time you're putting a course together. Go over, listen to this. I'll put the transcription in as well. It'll be on the Teach Online site. First of all, I want to thank you for spending some time with me this morning. I'm going to do these I'm going to try and do them on a regular basis. I've got them scheduled in. We'll continue to do some content. I'm going to do some shorter ones as well that are just about the tech part. So, how do I have my studio set up? The stuff that I'm learning about doing live webcasts and why I'm doing live webcasts. That's a pretty interesting one. Do that one for another day. But there's a whole tech part, and then there's actually creating courses. Remember I talked about business models, creating courses, a place to sell it, how to market it. Those are the areas that we're going to cover on separate days, and I'm just going to get on and talk about them and mostly look at stuff that I've seen on YouTube from content creators and say, how can that apply to course creators? How can I take what I learned on YouTube about creating content? How can I apply that to being a course creator or a course builder for an education business? Not just to create content, but to actually have an education business. So I'll take a look at those 4 places. Throat's a little dry there. So I'll take a look at those 4 places, and we'll do that on a regular basis where you just get on and talk. Again, if you do have questions, make sure to go to teachonline.io and sign up for the community. It's absolutely free there. We've got some interesting groups, a lot of additional resources that you won't find at YouTube. Some of the videos, of course, will be on YouTube that are on teachonline.io, but there are some mini courses there that are specific on how to do something that aren't necessarily on YouTube. So go there, check it out if you want to learn how to do it yourself. If you are interested in just having it done for you, if you have the ideas but you're not comfortable making a course, or you don't know how to make a course, or you don't know have time to how to learn it, whether it be getting your business model set up, place to sell it, course created, help marketing it and supporting it, we can do that for you at trainingsites.io as well, and the agency. Both of those options are available to you. We're there to help you out. And the whole gig for me is how do I start, build, and grow an education business? If you're a subject matter expert, you're a coach, a consultant, a speaker, someone has a real passion for something, wants to teach people how to do something and help them do that, that's what our business is about: starting, building, and growing. Picking a business model, creating courses, having a place to sell them, and in fact selling them. So I want to thank you for your time this morning. Again, I think I've been talking, 4:52, 58 minutes or something like that, almost an hour. So I'm going to try and get on each week, do these. If you have any questions, put them in the comments before. And of course, take the time to say, hello, James, I got some questions. Help me out, give me an answer, and I'll do my best to do this. This is James Maduke speaking, teachonline.io, trainingsites.io. Take care, expect the best.